What exactly is this mindset? Quite literally, at the basic level, being a company of one is striking out on your own. For example, Company X doesn't get who you really are. Everybody around you has blinders on, and you would do a much better job just building your own company than to stay at Company X for another 5, 10, 15 years. In other words, you're like Glenn. Or in another example, you're bored with being a corporate lawyer and the midlife crisis hits, which means 6 months later, you're baking cupcakes at your own shop and you're 10 times happier than when you were pushing papers charging $500 an hour. That's easily being the company of one. But more often than not, the company of one mindset is about freeing yourself from the idea that your job is your career. Your job is your avenue to a career, so long as the job and the career match. Sadly, it often doesn't. But people who have this mindset are easy to spot. They always have a few projects going on. This person may be a marketing executive by day, but at night she's writing a book. Or he's working at IBM, but in his spare time loves producing how-to videos on YouTube. They're creative people. Jeff Hazlett literally was a marketing executive by day. He was the chief marketing officer at Kodak when he decided to leave and pursue his own projects. When I told him about this company of one mindset, he immediately got it. Brand of one, he said over lunch at the Manhattan eatery Tao. He said he had about 40-plus projects going on at the same time, including a gig at Bloomberg Television as a contributing editor. He'd been a judge on NBC's Celebrity Apprentice. He consults and advises companies on marketing and public relations, but his biggest business is himself. I make the most from the speaking, he said. When I ask him what his brand is, he says he's unabashedly one of the best marketers out there and a cowboy to boot. He advised me social media was most important in developing your own brand. He grabbed his iPad and showed me all the tweets he'd scheduled later in the afternoon, tomorrow, next week, and even next year. Whatever you have, put it out there and let it echo, he said. And as if to drive home the point, he tweeted out to me after our lunch. I barely had a chance to figure out how to make my way back to the office, and he'd already tweeted a note saying thanks for the lunch for all the Twitter sphere to see. Sam Zell, the self-made billionaire real estate investor, said his entrepreneurial zeal might have been because he was born 90 days after my parents' arrival in the United States from Poland. I had the opportunity to watch my parents, as immigrants, deal with significant changes and challenges, Sam says, relaxing in his Manhattan apartment. And as I watch that, and I think about it, among the things that have made my career so unique are those common denominators of change and challenge. The ultimate definition of an entrepreneur is someone who is always thinking he can do things a different, better way. If he walks down the street and sees a painter on a ladder, he thinks, gee, if he'd moved the ladder to the middle of the wall, then he could paint both sides without having to go up and down the ladder as many times, he said. I can't tell you why I think that way, but that's literally the way I think all the time. It's always been that way. I look at things and see them differently than other people do.